And we hope that Web3 and blockchain technology can be applied to a lot of different industries. In Hong Kong, a very innovative financial center, the application of fintech is going to promote efficiency and accuracy of AML efforts to build a better, secure, and more transparent financial environment. Next one, the panel discussion will focus on the collaboration and innovation opportunities for enhancing Hong Kong's AML system. In recent years, the regulatory bodies of different countries have been enhancing the anti-money laundering and compliance measures and have already formed a comprehensive AML network. We have been promoting the training and institution of anti-money laundering and has been improving the capabilities of industrial practitioners. In this roundtable forum, we will talk about the collaboration and innovation of Hong Kong's AML system. Let's work together to build a safer and more transparent, stabler financial environment. Today's panelists are from government bodies, industry association, renowned experts, scholars. So now let's welcome the host of today's panel. Let's welcome Andy from Blockchain Academy to host today's panel. Now let's welcome the panel to the stage. They are Highlight Capital Partner, Professor at CUHK, Mr. Waishun. Belt and Road FinTech Association and Hong Kong Blockchain Association Co-President, Mr. Tong. Asia Pacific Compliance Digital Bank Hao-Flashwire Co-Founder, Mr. Hao. Let's welcome our panelists. We look forward to your great sharings. Now I will hand the floor over to Andy. Thank you very much. Now I'm going to host today's panel in Mandarin. Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Andy. First of all, I am so happy to see many of you joining the Web3 technology and the AML sub-forum. And we'll be talking about the collaboration and innovation opportunities of enhancing Hong Kong's AML system. Just now, the speaker has emphasized the importance of Hong Kong as an international financial center and the importance of a blockchain as an infrastructure. First of all, let's welcome our panelists to introduce themselves, maybe from Mr. President Tang. Hi, my name is Tony Tang. I am the founding president of Hong Kong Blockchain Association. Well, I have been working alongside the development of internet from Web 2, Web 3, and Web 3. And a few years ago, I also joined the Tokyo G20 anti-money laundering conference. Hi, everybody. My name is Hao, and I'm the CEO of Hao-Flashwire. And I have been working as a product manager in traditional internet company. For our company, we are a digital bank for Web3 companies. We can offer very user-friendly banking service. We have other sister companies, including Legend Trading, that are very popular worldwide. And it's one of the famous crypto transaction service provider, and we are also the official partner for USDC. In this process, we have accumulated a lot of research about different countries' regulation and monitoring policy, and we have vast experience in this field. I'm really happy to join this panel today. Hi, everybody. My name is Waishun. and I am the partner of Highlight Capital. And we are a angel investment fund focusing on hard technology. Our investments are mainly in the Chinese mainland and some in Hong Kong and Silicon Valley in the US. We have been investing in AI and blockchain for many years. And there are a lot of fintech applications. That is why we are very concerned about the development of fintech. I'm also a adjunct professor at the CUHK, and for the fintech master programs, I'm teaching entrepreneurship. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to the discussion in this panel. Well, first of all, let's come to our first question. Just now, we have already introduced Hong Kong's measure towards money laundering. So for what are the new opportunities for collaboration in terms of anti-money laundering? Maybe starting from President Tong. Well, recently we heard from the news that a exchange without a license, they are putting out a lot of advertisement to promote their own products. And we can see that in Hong Kong's blockchain industry, Hong Kong is a very free economy, and the blockchain industry has been growing in this very open environment. But without any regulation, there will be issues and fraud in this process. And in the past, I know that in the past 4 to 5 years, there are cases reported by the Hong Kong police office, and a lot of victims have called police after they were frauded. In the future, we will do more promotion work about anti-money laundering. In year 2019, we joined the G20 Financial Action Task Force, and back then, the banking system used to be in charge of anti-money laundering. And in the blockchain industry, people believe it's decentralized and they can use the decentralized ledgers. But we can also see that the global regulatory bodies, including FSC in the US and SFC in Hong Kong, and the FATF at G20, that's a global anti-money laundering organization, including PBOC, are also a member of FATF. And actually, globally, we have more and more concern over money laundering. And the traditional banking system and the traditional financial systems, AML and CTF, counterterrorism financing measures, needs to be implemented in the blockchain and blockchain exchanges, including both the centralized and the decentralized exchange. So DEX will be subject to more regulation in the future as well. Now over to Mr. Chen. From my perspective, I hope that the regulatory body can enhance communication with the industry and provide clear guidance to the industry. And how should I say that? We are also expecting more support for the field of Web3. It's a relatively new field, and Hong Kong is a free and prosperous market, and lots of capital are in this market. So Hong Kong is also facing high risks of money laundering. A lot of institutions are not mature enough and lacks experience. That is why we need guidance from the regulatory body, and we need certain rules to be applied in our practices. For example, our company are using the traditional AML measures used in traditional banking system, and together with the blockchain technology, we took 2 years to formulate a customized compliance solution. But of the capital or incentive for establishing such a system, also need the communication among different institutions. For example, the travel rule is requiring financial to share information. And then in terms of technology, innovation and development, especially regulatory technology, nowadays we are seeing the mainstream tools are from Europe, from the US. I hope that in Hong Kong we can support the tech companies to make a progress and to design tools that's more suitable for the Hong Kong market. All right, over to Professor Lau. First of all, in Hong Kong, we are a center for global virtual assets, and our vision is that this is very suitable for Hong Kong for anti-money laundering. It is a mature scope globally, and a lot of international organizations are putting down rules and approaches to tackle money laundering. In terms of virtual assets, the usage is not really frequent in a lot of traditional area. For example, the auction of artworks have been using different measures and approaches. So first of all, we need to realize this is a problem that will last for a long time, and we need financial institutions and different industry practitioners to work together to address this issue. So first of all, I don't think money laundering is especially common in the crypto area, but we are still lacking awareness towards crypto. For friends in the cryptocurrency field, they are not falling into the traps of JPEGs because they are already very mature and highly aware of this field. For those who are falling into this trap are those laymen who's being encouraged by those KOLs. So that is why we think education is also very important. And regarding crypto, I have my personal opinion. Blockchain is a core technology for a lot of industries, but blockchain technology can also help us with the monitoring. So with the development of crypto blockchain development, a lot of compliance measures needs to be in place. And we can all use blockchain technology to design this compliance and regulation technology. The regulatory body should also consider using blockchain technology to help with the monitoring. And of course, the AI technology can also help us identify and detect money laundering problems. So the monitoring body and the Hong Kong MA should embrace new Web3 technology.
AI is the most important technology and also blockchain technology. So these two technologies can help us for anti-money laundering. Thank you. Thank you very much, Anna, Professor Long, for your wonderful sharing. And we have known that the sensation news is that the JPEGs and non-compliance of virtual assets and transaction. So I hope three experts, can you share with us what happened in this case and how should we prevent JPEX? It is in Japanese exchange. And I noticed in Guangzhou rail station, there have been huge advertisement. And later, there are various advertisement in Tongluo Bay railway station or subway station. A lot of KOLs are introducing this virtual assets and exchanges. And I often go to Japan. Many of my friends in Japan also applied for a license and for virtual assets transaction. I asked them whether they know this exchange or don't they know this institute, and they have never heard. They actually have never heard about it. The advertisements are everywhere. However, it's not even clear who are the true shareholders and investors for this institute. We have seen that news for 1 to 2,000 people have claimed and being cheated by the institute in the police station, and many KOLs were asked to go to police for investigation. So this institute leverage KOL for dissemination. And I heard there was a KOLs function. They invested in the coin of JCP. Well, it seems like a mystery. Well, insiders would check a coin market cap and to check their background, and however, we cannot find the JPEGs among the top 20 or 40 companies, and they also claim they have an NFT, and we found that is also a fake advertisement. There's no blockchain at all, so non-forgeable token has to be assets on the chain. Otherwise, they're not NFT. So I think an experienced investors would not have assets there. However, I feel the Hong Kong citizens are being brainwashed by advertisement and by KOLs advocate. So I find that many people invested in dozens or even millions. So Ms. Tong and Ms. Chen, do you have additional comments on such an event or any advices for audience? I do not stay long in Hong Kong, so I'm not aware of these details about the issue. If we refer to the lessons and experience learned from the developed or mature markets in US or Singapore, there are some areas can be explored. There are different types of investors. Retail investors do not have very strong risk control awareness, and there's another type is a credit investor with a rich experience of investment, and they would have much better in risk management and also perform due diligence and then before investment. Another category is a professional institution. So the problems with professional institutions would be less. And from the regulators from US and Singapore, they tend to protect the customer or protection or individual or retail investors protection. If you have not get license in Hong Kong, theoretically, you cannot have advertisement. So I think this is somewhere we can improve. If they cannot promote themselves by advertisement, then less people would be cheated. So I think that is a direct actions that we can take. Second is the licensing mechanism. It's quite clear in Hong Kong, however, which are the exchanges and are the certified transaction institutions by government. So it would be best if regulators can deliver this information messages clearly and transparently to the public. Then the public will understand whether this platform is legal or not. So transparency of the information systems can be improved. That's where we can do better. Okay, thank you. Now let's welcome Professor Lau to share more with us. I don't think it's relevant with anti-money laundering, and it personally, we are looking for capital And previously, some exchanges established on Hong Kong. I have used exchanges with many friends involved, and I thought it's safe. However, after several years, the exchange's performance getting poorer, and finally they went bankrupt. So this is something that education and experience will count a lot. Just like Mr. Chen has said, we need to get a clear information systems telling which are the ones with license and which are still in the process of applications. So these who are in principle, who are still in the process, then people would be aware of the risk. Security regulators need to do in such a way. Meanwhile, we should also enhance our local education. They have not your key, not your coins, and is the normal way of saying you would consider this an exchanges platform just for temporary transaction. So once the transaction is done, you still need to have the capital within your own pocket. Overly speaking, because there's a commission inside, investment returns with over 20%, and it would be very difficult to achieve. If it exceeds 20%, and then probably it's cheating. Thank you, Professor Lang, for your sharing. Recently, there are some events happened, so we're talking about it. JPEGs are investigated by the police and the government due to non-compliance, and I will still wait to see the result. Now let's get back to the anti-money laundering topic. So I would like to ask our guests, how can we leverage some technologies in anti-money languages, or do you have some specific ways of cooperation? Now let's start from this side. The basic technology is data analytics, such as Chainalysis used in US. Even US government are using this tool for tracing and investigations on the chain. Initially, the first application of a blockchain is Bitcoin, and then initially it was anonymous. However, each of the wallet address of a Bitcoin is transparent. Each wallet address is just like an insurance cabin physically. Who has the private key can open it. You'll be able to see how underneath some hacker technologies would be used in trying to break down the password. So initially it was an anonymous. Now, while initially the whole virtual coin market was small, there were many gray areas. So initially, Bitcoins were used for settlement. And then those distributed ledgers and then decentralized properties are irreversible. It's not like you can explain to banks and get your money back. If you lost your password, and you can get it back with your ID card and control your account. However, if you lost your private key in blockchain in such a decentralized place, and then you do not have a way to get it back. So for those distributed accounts or wallets, if normal users that do not have such a knowledge and they don't know how to analyze this data on the blockchain, then once their assets are lost, they have nowhere to complain, because if it's a central management system, and then you can argue you can get your assets back with your ID card. So I'm thinking a lot of educations and promotions are needed for decentralized system, and I don't think it's suitable for all the preliminary users. There are many reasons. So some gray GBTC, it is a code, share code, and you input this 4 character letters, and then you can buy their share. They can be traded in OTC markets, and every year they charge 2% of a management fee. So that means that 100% of a management fee would be charged in 50 years. And we have a chairman unit of the Blockchain Association of Hong Kong. They have issued a ETF 3066 and 3068, and this is a compliant product, and that can be traded in exchange, in Hong Kong exchange. And so one is a Bitcoin futures, and one is Ethernet and futures. And so if you are not used to this distributed ledgers, and then you can use a stock code to buy products that are relevant to Bitcoin and Ethernet. And I believe now it's still a bear market for blockchain industry, for Bitcoin industry. Adding them all together, the capital is no more than 1 trillion. So we need more connections with the traditional financial sector. There will be many transitional products that can connect a blockchain and the virtual assets, and so this will also be more efficient for regulators to monitor in the future.
A lot of people have been discussing spot ETF. Now let's go back to AML technology. As Mr. Chen said, in 2 years of a time, their company designed and developed a tool for anti-money laundering on blockchain. Could you please tell more about that? Well, Mr. Tong talk about KYT, know your transaction. That's very important. This is the on-chain transaction monitoring. By labeling some black and bad actor, we can build a database for us to monitor the global blockchain and label them as a high risk, middle risk, and low risk. This is of great significance to a blockchain, because you can trace back to the source of a money laundering issue, and you can trace back to the owner. So can provide assistance to the law enforcement department and the regulatory bodies to trace back to the people who committed the crimes and get money back for the victims. So KYT is an important part in money laundering. And then KYC, know your customer, is also very important, because the law enforcement department is really concerned about each transaction and the real identity behind each transaction. But if there's no illegal action, then everybody's information is protected, because everybody have the right to keep their privacy. So a financial institution is also obligated to protect the privacy of users. However, all financial institutions also have the obligation to verify the authenticity of their identity information. Apart from that, we also have some auxiliary tools, including we can monitor the transaction behavior. Well, for example, we can use AI or we can use the rule-based engine to label some of the suspicious behavior, and we can form some alerts. And if some the crime is different from the ordinary user's behavior, then we can use the rule-based engine or AI engine to monitor their behavior characteristics. And then from the users of the platform, we can detect suspicious actors and send reports to regulatory bodies. We also have other auxiliary systems, including the risk score and also the risk score for countries and the regions, and also the fraud alert system. So for each technology, we can expand to a very long speak, but some are already mature, but some needs to be combined with blockchain technology to use. Thank you very much, Mr. Chen. I hope you can have a better understanding of the anti-money laundering system from Mr. Chen, including how we can trace back to each transaction, each user, and also each data. So now let's welcome Ms. Professor Lau to talk about how anti-money laundering and blockchain technology can help us with this technology. We have talked about the analytics on the blockchain, including utilization of AI technology. So this is one aspect. On the other hand, we have to conduct a more strict KYC for individuals. Now, there is already a global collaborative organization that are listing all the codes of the investors. So KYC and KYT should be carried out in a many very efficient way. But now I am promoting Hong Kong and its stable coins in the future. So there are a lot of stable coins. So you really need to look at how you are applying that. So on one hand, we need to apply this cross-border stable coin. We need to prevent you from money laundering, and we need blockchain technology to build in a special approach. For example, we can build in the travel rule, right? And for traders, they are not afraid of exposing their identity or what kind of commodity they purchased. All the information can be put in that, and they can do transaction in a relatively transparent way. But for you, if you don't want to expose some of the information, then it will be proving to be very suspicious. So this is what we call the digital financial infrastructure, including DID, stablecoin, and digital wallet. So we can build in some approach to prevent money laundering, and we can get a lot of data to be pre-built in the system, and this is a future direction. And second of all, this is also something that I've been doing recently, including the cross-border echoing of digital assets. Recently, China's data law have very strict rules on which kind of data can go across the border and which type of data can not go across border. So in order to make efforts to tackle and combat money laundering, we need data communication. So the Hong Kong SAR government have signed the Office of Internet and Information Office of the country that some of the data flow can be allowed. So Beijing and Hong Kong's International Big Data Exchange can set up a mechanism for data echo. For example, for albeit token assets needs to be stored and registered in the legitimate data exchange. But for Hong Kong, we do not have a data exchange, but we hope that we can establish an agency, an institution to work with the big data exchange. For NFT or for other stuff, we need the assets to be registered to make sure that this is a legitimate assets. So data exchange and data registration and echoing is something we need to do to help with our anti-money laundering efforts. So this is what I want to add on. Thank you very much, Professor Lau and dear panelists who talk about how we should combine any anti-money laundering technology and the blockchain technology. The reason we hold today's conference is we'd like to invite industry experts, professors, and practitioners to recommend policy to the government because it's also our opportunity and obligation to recommend policy to the government. So in US, they have a decentralized agreement called Toronto Cash. So it's a hybrid token agreement on the blockchain. It's encrypted. However, a lot of money laundering actors have been leveraging this Toronto Cash. So how do we monitor that? We detained the founder of Toronto Cash. So I'd like to ask about your opinion. How should we regulate the money laundering on blockchain? Because a lot of transactions are decentralized. A lot of actions and transactions are carried out anonymously, and some are initiated by individuals. So how should the government tackle these decentralized behaviors? All right, this year, US SFC and the US Commodity and the Futures Transaction Committee, they have been more and more active in terms of law enforcement. And you have mentioned Toronto Cash. Their founder is now facing litigation as well. And the US Law Enforcement Department and Coinbase are and Ripple Coin are taking legal actions. And they are now violating the Howey test. A lot of coins, a dozen of them have been notified by the SFC that they are actually have the essence of a security, but they are not registering as a security. So apart from Bitcoin, it's a decentralized token. They do not have the investment statement. But for the other tokens, they all have the foundation that's a centralized department or institution who are making profit from these transactions. So from the eyes of a US SFC, then US SFC have quoted a case from years ago. Since the crash of FTX, now the regulatory bodies are more and more concerned about virtual currencies and cryptocurrency on blockchain. After the crashing down of FTX, the general trend is that we need a more regulated centralized exchange. In Hong Kong, we used to have 2 of them, but now we have 3 of them. And there are already 6 of them that are centralized exchange under regulation. For decentralized exchange, however, I believe that for the US SRC, they need to take more actions in the US. In order to provide a transaction system, they need a license. For example, NYSE and the Nasdaq, they need a license to provide a transaction platform for its users. So a lot of companies and the DX, they do not have this license. And if the regulatory body claims that they violated the law and they are using the platforms for money laundering, and some of the platforms are helping with illegal transactions. So there are all the risks. It's not only applied to Toronto Cash. And for AML and the CTF, they are the terrorist organizations, and they will be subject to regulation. Whether you are centralized or decentralized, as long as you can capture the evidence or can capture the relative parties, whether you are US residents or non-US residents, the US government has this long arm in law enforcement. And if they can find you, you will be subject to litigation for Binance and Bochang. And I believe they may need to pay penalty to the US SRC. Yes, a lot of blockchain projects are engaging with the US SFC. For example, the Blue Point has faced litigation last year with the US law enforcement department. Now let's go back to the government policy and anti-money laundering programs. Well, Mr. Chen is already an expert in banking. So, Mr. Chen, do you have any recommendation for the government policy, for example, whether for it's centralized or decentralized? So, what kind of approach should we take to intervene with the anti-money laundering investigation?
First, internal attention is a very difficult metric encryption approach, and it's difficult for regulators to find who where the coins come from, and all the evidence chains and transaction records and have been on the blockchain. So it's difficult to get the real identity of the users. Under such circumstances, they made a choice that we can only have sanctions on project leader. It's the purpose is to alert other platforms that do not make your platforms into a one for money laundering. Indeed, it is difficult to monitor those platforms. There's no whole set of a compliance system for KOY, KOC. Theoretically, all the sanctioned countries such as Russia or North Korea can use those platforms freely. It's difficult to stop them technically. Therefore, it's difficult to monitor those platforms. SEC has sent a clear signal recently that they will monitor the platform. They will not give up because of the technical difficulties. Therefore, they need to issue orders or act that or the local platforms need to use KYC, and it's not useful just to shield from American users. There are still many more developed countries such as UK or other European Union countries, and so the standard need to be applied for all developed countries, and they need to ban all the IPs of countries to be regulated. And if these markets would all be banned, then the platforms would not have much business. Therefore, they still need to follow the regulators' requirements and fulfill their obligations, such as anti-money laundering. Of course, as they can develop technologies by themselves or leverage a third-party technology solution. So government, they would not care you are a new technical platform or you are traditional financial service and institute, as long as you turned into a tool for money laundering, and there would be victims. And therefore, I believe regulations, inspections will become more stringent, and we need to do our job well to adapt to such a trend. Very well explained. And now let's hear Professor Lau for additional comments. I totally agree with Mr. Chen for his comments, and regulation is definitely need to be there. It's inevitable. There will be new technologies to prevent the loopholes of new technologies. And I feel this is a major trend all over the world. Another direction is to leverage AI technology, blockchain technology, and Web3 to help surveillance. And thirdly, we need an international cooperation. Flow of data would help to identify assets and also be playing a role in anti-money laundering. So international cooperations would be very useful. Fourthly, I believe we still need to do more in legislation. SEC has put a JPEG on the suspicion list, but they just have a high profile recently. It's because the anti-money laundering law has been approved on June the 1st, and so only when they have a legal basis can they enforce the law. And while if we look into the US, the most developed countries for their securities law, it's obvious that it's not sufficient to monitor the digital assets nowadays. So what we are the activities are not just limited to securities, and if you only follow the securities law, that's definitely not sufficient. So I believe legislation also need international efforts. Thank you very much, Professor Laura and guests. Digital assets and Web3 is a new area. Not only we are not familiar with it, and regulators are also trying to get more familiar with it. Cross-border cooperations and providing tools are all very important part of anti-money laundering in Web3. Of course, government would also need to have a proper scales and of control. More scientific and rational methods should be leveraged. In the last round of speech, please share whatever you want to add. We have covered many topics from technologies to policies as well as specific projects. So my question is, what are your views about anti-money laundering in Hong Kong? Well, Hong Kong Blockchain Association, since 2017 up to now, we are dedicated to the sustainable, healthy development of a blockchain industry of Hong Kong. We always encourage friends to come to Hong Kong. So from our ministers to financial ministers and Chen have putting a lot of efforts in pushing forward and the development of virtual assets and including blockchain industry. Hong Kong government is determined to develop Hong Kong into a base for blockchain development and also a custody transaction access management and base. Our association has provided many compliance trainings together with Hong Kong Financial Management and University and together with China Mobile or Shenzhen Financial Bureau. We provide many trainings to let government and the companies to know more about the blockchain. I have heard that over 100 companies are applying virtual assets license of various categories, and we have a member company which got a number 1 virtual license for security type of assets. And for number 3 certificates, there have been 3 issued, and there are an additional 3 are in the process of application. Well, regarding the license number 9, that is for the asset management, and as far as I know, over 11 companies have received the virtual asset management license in Hong Kong. Many investors and fund managers can be regulated. Well, FTX had an event, accident, and then previously they were in Jinzhou, Hong Kong, and later they moved to Bahama. Alameda Research, one of their fund, did not comply, and they have used those platforms capitals without being compliant with laws and regulations. So through third-party custody companies, and I believe under FFC's framework, and investors can be protected and more effectively. Well, however, we should also be aware of the levels of control. There are only 4 coins that are allowed to be traded in Hong Kong. So is it possible to have 10 more, 10 coins? Therefore, the products and investors can buy in those regulated exchanges are still few. They may go to other exchanges to buy. We hope our industries can have more interaction with government, and also we hope government can hear more, take more of our opinions from member companies. Well, about coin issuance, since 2019, SEC has a legal security token offering framework, and the basic requirements is requiring at least 12 months of operation record for one project. So we are working with an SEC Hong Kong and also SEC US. We have a Web3 incubator, namely com.2000.com. This company has been approved by US and SEC. And it has been registered in US, and we have seen a lot of legislations in US saying that those coins being issued but without approval of US SEC. So once they grow to a certain scale above 1 billion, they have received a lot of litigation cases. So I encourage operators to consider about issuing token to the framework of an US SEC or Hong Kong SEC. So hopefully we welcome you to Hong Kong, bring your projects to Hong Kong, and then I also and our Hong Kong regulation framework also encourage you to join us. Thank you, Chairman Tong. Now, Mr. Chen, please. Well, currently, we're still in a learning and exploration stage for Hong Kong market. In Hong Kong, Europe, and Singapore, these three markets are more mature for our operation. We know more knowledge about the regulation policies and the local partners. Our users comes from over 100 countries and regions. So we want to have a full understanding of the whole set of regulations and policies. And before we go for Hong Kong, we do not serve much about a retail market, but we provide services for institutions. HT Hong Kong and Circle Formal Singapore, these are the partners and our potential clients. Trust has been built during the long-term cooperation. Under the regulation system of Hong Kong, how can we follow the laws and provide a service to our partners? Because we provide the liquidity at the fundamental layer. Many of the financial institutions and are our clients, including 25 exchanges. And what we are doing are at the fundamental layer. Even we only serve institutional investors, so we still need to comply with law, and we need to get the license in Hong Kong. That's what we are working on. We want to make some contributions so that we can for Web 3.0, the web sector. Today is a form of anti-money laundering. It is a very difficult area with contents of various perspectives. And so I agree with Professor Lau's opinion that leveraging new technology to address the problems such as DID, to encrypt those identity informations and to let the sharing being possible among financial institutions. And so it needs to be encrypted, but at least you know that this user has been validated by me. So once there are requirements by regulators, we can provide a whole set of information. New technologies such as DID or zero knowledge, these encrypted methods will be helpful for regulations in the future. And also, I believe it will be of great help for coordinations among financial institutions, and it also help regulators. And I believe in Hong Kong there will be various technical innovation companies.
Now let's welcome Professor Lau to make a summary. Okay, in order to promote Hong Kong as a Web3 or virtual assets hub, the most important thing is infrastructure. In fintech and digital finance, we need to establish infrastructure, and one of the key components is regulation. Including anti-money laundering technology should also be included in this infrastructure, so we can build Hong Kong as a Web3 hub and be free from the negative impact. And on the other hand, in order to make a success, what matters most is education, because currently from the JPEG's accident, we see a lot of ordinary people do not have enough awareness to this field. Education is critical. We need to improve the quality of the education. And third, we should also improve legislation. Just as we mentioned before, we need a new legislation and phase out those laws that are inappropriate. And I'd like to mention something special in the world. In many places, they already have the law for digital banking, but Hong Kong does not have the law for digital banking. Actually, virtual banks is not related to Web3. It's using the ordinary banking license. It's only you don't have a brick and mortar store to acquire customers. So we need legislation, enhanced regulation, as well as improving education, so we can make it better. Thank you. Thank you very much for your great sharing. Through today's Web3 technology and the AML panelist, we have discussed in depth about the important topics of Hong Kong's monitoring system for combating money laundering. We have discussed what should we do after anti-money laundering and what are the convenience brought by blockchain and the difficulty. So we'd like to take this opportunity to say thank you to our audience, our guests, and hope we can work together to promote the innovative development of a Hong Kong AML system. Thank you very much for your great sharing. Before leaving, let's take a group photo. Let's take a group photo together with a sum up. Now let's have a look at our videographer. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much for your sharing. Enhancing the collaboration and innovation of Hong Kong's anti-money laundering system needs collaboration from both the government and also the industry, and we should make our own efforts to the development of Hong Kong and the global economy. So that is the end of today's Web3 anti-money laundering and technology sub-forum. I wish you learned a lot from today's forum. We welcome you coming to our events next time again. Thank you very much.
嘅形式，再一次多謝咁多位嘅來臨，我哋下一次再見，多謝各位。